Complete filter service on the Mercedes C220 CDI, starting with the oil. So we need to remove the under tray completely. We've got one at the front and the second one. It's the second one that we need to remove, but we need to undo the front one, which you may as well removing all these 8mm bolts, and then remove the bolts holding the rear under tray in position. So the oil filter housing cap is a 74mm 14 side key. So we've got 3 O-rings to replace on this filter. Make sure when replacing O-rings that you smear oil over the entire surface of the new O-ring. Now the filter's ready to refit. The torque rating is 25 Newton meters, but you can tell when the plastic caps meet the metal that the filter is tight enough. And we've got a 13mm sump plug. Long one. Just leave the oil to drain as long as possible. Replace the sump washer if you've got one. Unfortunately it's Sunday and we don't have one, so we'll be taking special care that the sump plug isn't leaking after refitting and running the engine. Once you're happy with the amount of oil that's drained out, refit the sump plug and tighten to the specified torque, which will be in the description. Replace the under trays. So now we're going to add approximately 6 litres of oil. The capacity is 6.5 litres, so what we're going to do is add 6 and then run the car. And once we've run the car for a few minutes, we'll switch it off for 10 to 15 minutes and we'll check the dipstick, get a level and top up as necessary. So we've added just over 6 litres of oil. Going to replace the oil filler cap and run the engine for a few minutes. Right, so we've run the engine, switched it off for 10 to 15 minutes. Remove the dipstick, wipe it off. So this is the max mark up to here. That's the minimum mark and we are almost directly in the centre, so we can top it up a tiny bit, but that won't take much more. Air filter. Airbox is here with the ECU on top of it. Fortunately we don't need to remove the ECU. We've got 7 T25 Torx screws. 1, 2, 3, don't miss that one. 4, 5, 6 and 7. So as you can see, that 7th Torx screw seems to screw into the top of the filter. So that's the top. Remove the cover. Filter is fully seated here. Yeah, it's definitely seated right now. That's fine. So now for the fuel filter. There were quite a few variations of this filter, so do make sure that yours matches the one fitted to the top of the engine. And this is. So what we need to do is we've got two clips down the side of the filter housing, which can be undone like this. So that should have the filter moving. And to disconnect this connector here, now there will be a special tool for removing these fuel hoses, but what I've got here is a nail puller and a screwdriver just to lift up the edge. So if you're struggling to remove these fuel pipes, which if the fuel filter hasn't been changed before, it could be pretty stuck, insert a tool here and spray some penetrating fluid in. And what you'll want to do, you could use some pliers and just try twisting the pipe from side to side like this until it's free. But if they are loose enough, then you can pull them off. And now you'll be able to pull the fuel filter out of position. So we've attached a pipe going from the new filter up to the old filter, and then we've applied a vacuum on here. So we're transferring the diesel out of the old filter and into the new one. This gets rid of all the air in the new filter, which will make it easier to restart. So I've got the new filter filled up as full as we can. Place it back in position and reattach the plug, reattach the pipes. Ooh. Back into its same position, and then we should be able to just clamp them back up. There you go. So we've filled up the filter pretty well, but what I always like to do is cycle the ignition a few times to activate the lift pump in the tank. You can hear it, can't you? So after cycling the ignition, you can try to start the car. Once the car starts, rev it up to 2,000, 3,000 RPM straight away and this should clear the air out of the system. Finally, the cabin filter. I've got torque screws to remove this panel underneath. Kick panel. Unlock the old filter, it'll drop out. Make sure the filter goes in the same way as it was removed.